should be here though. Brendan will be here in about 60 seconds. Oliver will be here in about 10 minutes. Brady.
What does that for?
Bringing it for my camera class, so they like the little buttons instead of doing actual password.
Nice.
If I didn't see quick,
I'm good for the year now.
That's right.
First semester.
Semester that you got.
Well,
2025.
technically it's both, yeah.
Never think about it like that. I always think in terms of school year. The year you stop thinking about it like that when you leave high school or college, I suppose. Morning.
do you on Wednesday?
Hey, Brendan.
You were 5 seconds early.
Let's go.
Okay, if y'all would please find assignment 48 and assignment 50 in your bags, please.
Good morning, Fayetteville High School. It is Friday, December 13th, 2024. Will you please join me for a minute of silence?
Hey.
Thank you very much. Will you please stand as you are able for the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a great day and enjoy your weekend.
Okay, so we're going to finally finish up assignment 48 because we only have the 3 or 4 parts on the back page. So again, if you don't have that out, please get that out pretty quickly here. And then finally I can show you one last new thing called the Nth term test, which is actually pretty easy to use. So I think you'll like that one. And then I will give you more time to study for your semester examiner test, assuming that you're not ready for that yet. But okay, so we have made it to the back page. So question 16 has a paragraph to read there, a bunch of values to read there, but let me, if you have not worked this question, you've got 3 minutes to do part A, please. So read the question, add that information to the graph if you can, and then come up with your answer and what you think your justification should be for that. So there was your 3 minutes. So must there be a value of C between 2 and 4 such that H of C would be 3.5? So sounds like this is a yes or no question to start off. So what do you think? Okay, I see a yes. So I agree, it is. Now the reason why, obviously, is much harder, but you could add this information to your graph. That should help. 6, I'm going to call this -4 since it's under the x-axis, 24 and 19. So they gave us some areas there. And so if I find the starting y value, which would be h of 2, that would be integrating from 4 to 2 of the function gx dt. So if I start off at 4 and go to 2, I'm going from right to left, so that's not -4. Since I'm going the other direction, it would be the opposite of that. So that's the starting y value. The ending y value is when y is 4, or I'm sorry, when x is 4. And to integrate from 4 to 4, what would that be? Good, because it's like it's not opening up at all. So if the starting y value is at 4 and the ending y value is at 0, there's one of our theorems that we can use here. What theorem talks about the values in the middle? Very good. Intermediate value theorem. Intermediate value theorem says if it's continuous, which this guy's is, if something's differentiable, then he's automatically continuous. Not everything that's continuous is differentiable, but everything that's differentiable is continuous. It guarantees that we have to hit all the y values from the starting y value to the ending y value. So it's going to hit everything from 4 to 0, and 3.5 is within that range. So, not that hard of a question, but kind of hard to interpret what they're asking you to do.
Why was your h of 2 positive?
Because you were going from 4 to 2, and so if you're going right to left, you need to take the opposite value.
Gotcha.
It's only if you go left to right that you would keep those values the same. Okay, for those of you that have not tried question B or part B yet, let me give you 2 minutes for that one. Again, I just want to make sure everyone has time to try them first. And I didn't ask you to finish these, so. Okay, so again, this one sounds more like an A-B question to me, but if you remember that the area under the curve represents the total value, So from 0 to 11, that would be these 6, 6, plus these -4, plus these 24, plus these 19. That would be the total value from x equals 0 to x equals 11. And that comes out to be 45. And then you just need one more step if you want the average instead of the total. The average we would need to come back and divide by what? 11. The total distance traveled, the total horizontal distance traveled. So 45 11ths. So again, not really specific to BC. Something that we will review about AB next semester, but it's good for you to see if you remember how to do it. Likewise, I think Part C is also very much an AB topic. So let's say 2 minutes here. And of course, if y'all have a question, speak up. Okay, so my AB classes have been asking a lot of these type of questions recently, but I did just show them this skill recently. So of all the limit stuff that you've ever done, one of the more useful and absolutely necessary questions here is, well, first you should always start off with direct substitution, but that gave you 0 over 0. But anytime you get an indeterminate form, sometimes the nicest way to work this is with L'Hopital's rule, and sometimes it's your only choice. So this one was your only choice because there's no like algebra you can do with this h of x. So L'Hopital's rule is not the quotient rule. L'Hopital's rule says take the derivative of the numerator divided by the derivative of the denominator, and then try direct substitution again. And if it's still an indeterminate form, you can apply L'Hopital's rule multiple times if need be. So the slope of h at 8, I got 0, and then this is minus 3, and then this would be 2 times 8, so negative 3/16. Okay, everybody okay with that? If you missed it, you're good with why to do that now. Okay, and then finally, last one. So let me give you a couple minutes to finish this up. Try Part D. Part D is more of a BC, not more of a BC topic. It is a BC topic, specific to geometric series. So see if you can piece together what they're wanting you to there. will tell you I missed this one the first time I tried it too. It's a little tricky. Okay, even if you think you got this question right, again, I think that there's a good chance you got it wrong at the very, very last step. So, I mean, I hope that you didn't. I hope that you didn't fall into the trap that I fell into. But we look at this, and this is a geometric series because they're multiplying by the same thing each time. The common ratio in this question is what?
R.
Okay, R is R. G of 6 comes from up above, so G of 6 was equal to, so if you know the first term, you know the common ratio, and you know what you want it to equal to, you could put our new formula for geometric series and set it equal to the 9. And then you multiply both sides by 1 minus r and distribute. Subtract 9 from both sides. Divide both sides by -9 and reduce. You get -7/3. Anybody get that for r?
Yes.
Okay. So is there a value r that makes this series equals 9?
No.
How come?
Because that diverges.
How do you know it diverges?
Because the absolute value of r is greater than 1.
Right. If the absolute value of r is greater than or equal to 1, this diverges, which means it doesn't settle on a fixed number. So I got r, and then I said, okay, yeah, sure, here's what r has to be for that to be true, but it can't be true, because if the absolute value of r is greater than or equal to 1 in a geometric series, again, what will get hard about sequences and series as we start piling on this stuff, but just for geometric series, this diverges. So it can't settle on 9, it's not going to settle on any number. It's either going to go to infinity, negative infinity, or it's going to bounce around between numbers but never approach a certain number. So that one's pretty easy to miss, but okay, so finally, I will ask for that at the start of class on Monday, so make sure you bring that, please. So the next one, assignment 50, because we already had an assignment 49, I had you renumber this one. This is supposed to be number 50. Okay, the good thing is, once we get to the practice, you may not think this is good, but it is good that they will mix in some geometric series questions. So some of the stuff we just did, and then we're going to mix in what's called the nth term test for divergence. Okay, so if you have a series, the nth term for divergence has you look at the limit as n approaches infinity of a sub n, not s sub n. Remember, s sub n means the partial sum. A sub n is the formula in terms of n that gives you all of the items of the sequence. Okay, so all that the nth term for divergence says is if the limit as n approaches infinity of this is 0, then it converges. Oh, okay. But yeah, these are phrased differently. I was going to say these two sound like they're saying the same thing, but they're not. If it converges, then this has to be true. But if this is true, then this may converge, or it might diverge. So all the nth term test for divergence tells us is if the limit of, as n approaches infinity, of a sub n does not equal 0, the only thing it tells us for certain is that this infinite series will diverge. Now again, I know these two almost sound like they're saying the opposite thing, but the order is different. If it converges, you know for sure that the limit's 0, but just because the limit's 0 doesn't mean it converges. The limit's 0, it could do either one. So, on one hand, this is going to seem, after we do a couple practice questions, this isn't going to seem that helpful. Sometimes it's going to guarantee that it diverges, and sometimes it's going to tell us that we don't know if it diverges or converges. But again, this is part of a process, so we're going to learn several more tests for convergence and divergence. So this is one of the easier ones to apply. So if we can apply this one, see that it diverges, and be done with it, that's where it's a nice skill to have. Okay, so let's look at these example questions. All of this makes up a sub n. So to apply the nth term test, you want to think about the limit as n approaches infinity of a sub n. And what would that be? Good. So think about your horizontal asymptote rules. As n goes to infinity, if it's a big rational function, you can just apply horizontal asymptote rules. The degrees were equal, so leading coefficient over leading coefficient. So what does that mean? Very good. Since that doesn't equal 0, we can say, and I know this is a pain, but you need to do this, it diverges by the nth term test. Your AP exam expects you to refer to which test you are using, so we need to make a habit out of doing that. Okay, question number 2. If we try to do the nth term test, so we take the limit as n approaches infinity of this, what does that go to? It does go to 0. So this constant can come out front if that helps you. And then 1/2 to the n is like 1 to the n over 2 to the n. Of course, no matter what exponent on 1 you have, it's going to go to 1, so that one doesn't really matter. So as n gets bigger, your denominator gets bigger. If your denominator is getting bigger, this is going to 0. And if this is going to 0, times 3 is 0. So, because the limit as n approaches infinity of a sub n goes to 0, what does that tell us? Okay, so could converge or diverge by the nth term test. However, that's not the answer though. This one actually converges. Any guesses how I know this converges? Okay, so and there's an and to that. R is less than the absolute value of R. R is 1/2 is less than 1, so it converges. I don't know what they call that, by geometric series. So this is where they're throwing in the past unit as well. So the nth term test doesn't tell us anything. It tells us that it might converge, it might diverge. But since it happened to be a geometric series, Again, I recognize this as geometric because of the format. If you don't see that it's geometric, until you do, you have to write out the terms. Write out the first term is 3, the next term is 3 over 2, the term after that is 3 over 4, and then you can see that it's multiplying by the same thing each time. Okay, what does the nth term test tell us about this one on number 3? Okay, I wish I could spell could converge or diverge by the nth term test. And the reason why is the limit as n approaches infinity of a sub n equals 0. So basically no conclusion. Now, can't we just use our geometric stuff though? You don't seem convinced. Is this a geometric series?
I don't think so.
It is not a geometric series, so you can't use if the absolute value of r is less than 1, it converges. If the absolute value of r is equal to 1 or greater than 1, it diverges. You can't do that because it's not a geometric series. Okay, number 4. So you can see we really just keep doing the same thing over and over. So the limit of n as n approaches infinity of a sub n, what do you think all of that goes to?
Zero.
Okay, I'm not sure. Let's split this up. 2 to the n plus 2 is like 2 to the n times 2. When you multiply things with the same base, that's how you end up adding exponents. This is like 2 to the n times 2 to the third plus 1.
Wouldn't it be 2 to the n times 2 to the squared? Because it's plus 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. So, thinking to split this up, now you can see these just cancel and reduce. Also, this 4 cancels and reduces this 8 to be a 2.
It's a plus 1.
Plus
Can't-
1.
You can't cancel because there's a plus 1 in front. Like x over x plus 1 x.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We can't cancel that because can't cancel out terms. Thank you. What was this? Oh, the reason why, okay, so you're right. We cannot cancel these because this is terms, but when you're talking about numbers that go to infinity, this plus 1 just is so insignificant that it doesn't really matter. So again, technically we can't really cancel these, but for all intents and purposes, because we're talking about such big numbers, you can ignore those and you end up with 4 over 8. And so that would give us 1/2, which is not 0. So what? So it diverges by the nth term test. So this is really why we learn this test, because again, when we do more and more series and there's more and more tests, and you have to put more and more thought and maybe work into figuring out if it converges or diverges, it's nice if you can just take the limit of this, and if it's not 0, you automatically know it diverges and you can be done with the question and you don't have to apply a bunch of other tests to it. Okay, let's try one more and then I'll have you practice a few with our remaining time here. So if I wanted to apply the nth term test, what would I start off doing with this? What would be my first step? Okay, take the limit as n approaches infinity of this guy. Okay, now, again, sometimes you need to split this stuff up. I guess if you can't see this, you could try L'Hopital's rule to help simplify it a bit. I can tell that this is going to stay strong, whereas this is going to kind of break down. So I don't really need to do this step, but if I took the derivative of this and the derivative of this, I think this is a little bit easier to see. When I plug infinity into this, what does this fraction go to?
Infinity.
Okay, it equals infinity, which is not 0. So if the limit as n approaches infinity of a sub n is not 0, then the nth term test tells you it diverges. So by the nth term test, it diverges. So it either goes to infinity or it just bounces back and forth between numbers, but it never approaches the same number over time. Okay, that's the whole thing. So I don't have the next page work, but this is where the practice starts. So if you would try all 6 of these, please. So I will warn you that at least one of these is geometric, so you need to think about the absolute value of r, whether it's less than or greater than 1, to know if it converges or diverges. But for all the rest, you apply the nth term test. And it will either guarantee that it diverges, or it will tell you that we don't know if it converges or diverges.
Which assignment do you need to turn in?
Nothing today. I always put it under bell work on the agenda page if you need to turn something in. Or under agenda if I have you turn it in after the start of class. Oh, I need to work these too. Again, if you think one of these answers is diverges because of the nth term test, please don't just say diverge. Say diverge by nth term test. I know it's a little bit more work, but it's a good habit to get in because, again, your AP exam will say, like, using the nth term test, does this converge or diverge? And you have to use that specific test. So it could be like, it converges, but based on the test they ask you to use, it's unknown. So that's the test you use actually matters, not just the answer.
It's not for school, it's for college.
Oliver, you got all 6 of these done? You got all 6 of these done? Okay.
Well, actually, no, it's not. West side.
Oh yeah, I already have one written for you if you want it. Well, no, I already asked for
You got an east side.
recommendations.
West to east. So if you're on the east side, you get one ball.
It's gotta be 4 pictures.
But if you're on the west side, you'll
I have to have 2 recommendations.
That's why Green Bay gets so much less snow on this.
He's not a core teacher. I mean, I can, as a supplementary. Yeah, it's not.
It'd be less if he goes to like east and west. It could, but it really does not, especially.
Yeah, no, he asked me a couple questions before it.
Got convergence. I got that right as well. Oh, because it goes to the end. That's.
Also, I don't really want to. This was great.
Michigan snow, go up to like Michigan snow. Oh, not zero. This one. Yeah. It's not even zero, that just. Yes, you're right. All of them. So that's probably those geometric. I think 6 is geometric. That's your problem. Yeah, that's why I just like science. That's supposed to be PNG. Good job. So you almost moved to Cincinnati or something. As you know. Yeah. Yeah, he lived in Cincinnati. Not when I was honest. Interesting. It's a lot of people who live in Tennessee. A whole bunch of people. Us. I don't know anyone else in this room. I got probably the kids, parents, PNG. I know you studied that in school. Not realize that. That's how much. The only approaches in
Done?
I'm working on it.
You sound like you're done.
Sorry about that.
That is the
Mr. Townsend. Will you be coming to watch Thompson and I get our heads buzzed
When is that?
today during advisory?
I have to be in here for my group.
Maybe they'll stream it. Stream it? Actually, probably will. They'll probably have Logan.
Thompson went home because he needed to go sleep.
Well, did somebody told you?
I just assumed.
Yeah, I think he
Sounds
has
like
to be
you're
here
good.
for advisory. Maybe he did go home and sleep for an hour and then went back. But
Tell back for advisory.
Or it's just you that's getting your head buzzed.
I think he's been lying to me the whole time.
He got you to commit, and then he's gonna no-show.
Oh boy.
that's
That would actually be really good. Respect him for that.
Really?
I won't call him Tommy anymore.
Have you seen the new number file video?
The new what video?
The number file video?
Mhm.
There's a new one on raising E to the power of a matrix. It uses the Taylor expansion of E in the same way that you would for E to the I pi, and raises it to the power of a matrix.
Huh. Yeah, interesting.
There's actually some uses for it, and like it's taught in some calculus classes. It's really cool. There's a 3 blue 1 brown in this video on it years ago. This is like a smaller version.
So what do you think?
So one is insignificant in terms of effect. So then, as the percentage, it's just gonna go to 3/5.
Because the other one is like overweight. Like on this one, you're overweight.
No, I'm like on weight exactly. I was
Yeah,
0.2.
3/5 is wrong.
It
Yeah, same
wasn't
exponent. Same exponent. Negative third. The third.
It's three. There's three. Yeah.
Okay, great.
How would you explain that, Mr. Johnson? That it, you know it's gonna.
I just let Chelsea do that.
It's gonna converge to 3/5 because your exponent's the same right there. Like, yes, that's yeah. Rules of best.
How'd you go about
Awful.
I haven't.
Okay.
It's awful.
Well, what's faster, 3 to the end or 5 to
Do
the
you
end?
see the averages?
Yes.
5 to the end.
So
I'm talking about really big numbers. To me, that sounds like the denominator's gonna go through the
Well, they're all made by someone
faster than the
entirely.
numerator.
The teacher doesn't actually teach.
I would say 0.
Oh, I thought that was. What about this one though, Mr. Johnson?
It's all supposed to be made.
How do you know this one went to? Our number one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then,
How do you know this one went to 3/5?
the horizontal lesson covers.
and then.
Well, the degrees are
you
equal
watch a
here.
video for every assignment.
Degrees are. But I took
Sometimes
it
you
on
have to watch
degrees,
2
those are
videos.
exponents.
Oh.
Actually, you always have to watch 2 videos.
No.
And these systems. So boring.
I've taken housekeeping course before because that was a unit within finite, and it was actually fun. They actually like taught me.
Okay, we're actually about 2 minutes away from the halfway point in class, so again, just to be consistent here,
That was the shortest.
I would like you to finish up working these 6 questions, but we will check those very quickly, and then I'll give you time to do 7, 8, and 9 and go over those as well on Monday. So that won't take very long. So most of Monday you'll have your semester exam review, but once you finish up those 6, you're welcome to look over your reviews, finish practicing your 49. I still plan on giving you a grade for 49, so make sure you're still bringing it to class, even if you think you're ready for the semester exam. I will give you points for 48, and I will ask for that at the start of class on Monday. Just to be clear, this series and sequences stuff is not going to be on the final. I've narrowed the only things you have to worry about for the final is the stuff that shows up on assignment 45 and 49, the stuff from Unit 9 College Board. Not integration by parts, not separation of variables, not improper integrals, not any of the AB stuff that we reviewed, except for stuff that just naturally carries over. I'm letting you focus on just Unit 9. So, obviously, if y'all have questions on that, you need to let me know. Please don't wait until Monday, last minute, to do that. Start asking now if you know you have semester exam review questions.
That was also geometry series.
Skip it.
Because we're saying.
Skip the whole thing.
How did it turn into?
It's not
How did it turn into 3?
And if anybody finishes, not until you finish, I do have a new brain teaser puzzle, take apart, put back together thing. It's Zelda thing.
I'll try it.
Yeah, you gotta be done with everything.
I am.
Where's your semester exam review?
Mr. How's that?
That's not a good sign.
I can read it.
45 and 49.
Okay, here's 49.
And you got those 6 in?
Yeah, I finished these like a week ago. I have 45 in here somewhere.
You don't study any of them? None of them are harder than the others?
Not really, no.
40 is number 2, geometric.
I don't remember what 45 looks like.
It is. Yes, one also geometric. It is.
Again, if you're ever unsure, just plug this in, get your number, plug in 0 into that, you get 5 times 1 for the first term of 5. Then you plug in 1, so you get 5 times 5 over 2, which is 25 halves. Plug in 2, you would get 5 over 25 fourths. And then when you have those terms, you're seeing that you're just multiplying by 5 halves every time. And if you're multiplying by the same thing every time, huh? 2.71 something.
Got it. I have seen them.
It's irrational like that.
So that everything both into 0? Or no, not that the both into 0, but like that would equal 0 since pi is bigger.
I think they should clean up with that.
No.
Is that the same
It's a constant.
But they're a bunch of numbers, aren't they? Same as this one, probably. You could say.
Listen, I was given fear of throwing anything out.
E to the n times okay.
Yeah.
Divided by
They gave
pi.
extra points if we kept
And
the
you
same
put e to the n over pi to the n as e over pi to the n.
accidentally.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
And if we kept it to the end of the
Well,
year,
how is,
we got extra
what is,
points.
that means it's geometric.
I lost that card.
If we have to do this and proceed as geometric, then we can figure out if it's
Now I have too many.
like we have to brand the timer to the intern test before.
No. But if it's geometric and it diverges, it's probably quicker to do the nth term test.
Okay.
Can I turn in a stack of documents? I know it's in here somewhere.
No.
Okay.
You need to find it.
I still had less than.
You know, if you just get a binder and you just start putting them in there. And then every day you put like 5 assignments back in here, like you make how about that? Here. But you need to make sure you know your stuff.
Found it. Alright, nice. Found number 45.
I only had to go through a quarter.
I believe you. Oh, you never turned it in the first time. I got you. Being invaded.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And then they'll be like,
Oh, they're going to the pep rally.
Pep rally today? Or the, advisor?
It should be a pep rally.
No, it's
Why not?
Friday.
Because it's Pump Friday, it's my go.
Bro, they really thought they were gonna like change the school, make it so much fun, adding from Friday and nothing changed. We're still doing classes, we still have some stuff.
No, I'm literally going
Friday is
What do you mean? Lots of teachers offer fun activities.
Freaking best. I didn't even have to ask him. He was just like, yeah, I can.
I didn't even sign up.
Absolutely sick. But
Are you done? Okay, now you gotta go back together.
William and I were playing Lauren last night. We got onto the team with this one, like really red guy.
I saw 2 of those on sale a couple weeks ago, those puzzles.
so
And I bought both of them, the other one hasn't come in yet. But it's like a,
He's here for.
it's a Zelda 2, but like somehow you're supposed to get the sword out of the thing, is the puzzle.
The really red guy.
They were like $15 a piece, which is a little expensive for me, but.
He was saying, he was like saying well made
Yeah. Except I had a nice metal puzzle like that once that got stolen, so.
and then
Yes, you did, but they got stolen.
One of them did.
Oh yeah, no. He did say like bad words shouldn't exist in schools.
have you ever tried that?
The generation was 2D
So a while ago, I got advertised on Instagram.
He's hilarious.
This almost who this guy would be. He was like,
Neat stick parts.
He's like, I have to.
Yeah. So anyways, it was Christmas. They were like, hey,
We ended up
I
losing.
got
We
the
were
email
winning by so
from
much,
Christmas.
and then this
Well,
guy,
wait,
the guy from started sure because talking nonsense
Take a rip
about
about this.
political beliefs and stuff.
They were like, hey, we got some new pins.
Two one half. There was the one half comes in.
I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear
And then
anything.
two plus one
New pins on the
goes
face.
negative.
Until the end of the month.
Subtract one, which is
A whole bunch of new pins on the face.
and that brings it to
And I knew it was the end
Until
of
the end of the month.
It was really, really right.
So anyways, I bought them. I bought myself an ace tray and an air max.
Liam was over here going, yeah, that's right, correct.
For the weekend.
Just the
Saying all this. I lost so much of my art.
You play Valorant. I have many games that will start with not really.
It was too much work for me. What other games are supposed to? Marvel Rivals. I got it all.
Oh, and then what are these things? Single player.
I know Jeff is pretty good. Hulk is good.
Minecraft event, like with a bunch of readers, it's like hyper mini games, but like it's more up to date and it's like designed
I've
for
seen
1.9 plus players before you have to.
Iron Fist is good.
Takes you in and it turns out to be enemies can't like
What I wanted to say, I didn't say
Marvel
the
Rivals.
other page.
I've seen some clips of it.
I've seen a lot of places. Yeah, the only thing you have to worry about is by
No,
that
I've
is
ordered
like
them.
the instant determine divergence for which of these.
I think it doesn't
So, like, if you thought one of those converged
Overwatch had
because
like
of
19 players when it came out.
geometric series,
Yeah,
like
Overwatch
you still have to answer based on just that.
Yeah,
So,
Overwatch
that's
had
19
players.
players.
Oh, Rivals is like.
I didn't have those. These are not
19 players on Overwatch.
You think that makes this up in
The
like
difference,
five
like
levels?
that Marvel Rivals is literally made by Marvel.
Okay.
And it already has a
So can you use it? Yeah. What can you do?
Overwatch had zero value, but its Overwatch was a big thing because it was the first one to like it.
Overwatch has like a ton of collabs.
Now it does, not when it first came out.
I'm saying Overwatch was huge and like probably like thousands of people playing it at the time. When Marvel Rivals came out, it had 19 people playing.
You just said Overwatch is because does it sound like this?
But
What?
yeah, wait,
That's that version.
what's the game that's like
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals?
Overwatch.
Yeah. When Marvel Rivals came out, it had 19 people playing it. Do you not understand what I'm saying?
You literally,
The entire player base of Overwatch is on Marvel Rivals now. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Are you saying that like everyone playing Overwatch
Yes.
or Rivals, and now no one is playing Overwatch?
Yeah.
Okay, Liam, what you said was when Overwatch came out, it had 19 people.
No, like when Marvel Rivals came out, Overwatch had.
Yeah, that's not what you were saying.
That's what I was saying.
Now that's what you're saying.
That was what I was saying.
Yes, when Marvel Rivals, you said first you said when Overwatch came out, it had 19 people. When Marvel Rivals came out, it had thousands of people. And then you said when Marvel Rivals came out, it had 19 people.
Is there anything y'all don't argue about?
Exactly. This is how we felt.
You did say that at the beginning.